Number 1. The 1970 Ford Torino Cobra 429. What if you had $60,000 to spend on a classic muscle car? Most people would immediately think of a Chevelle SS, a Dodge Charger, or perhaps a Mustang Mach 1. But there's another legend that often gets overlooked, the 1970 Ford Torino Cobra 429. This particular example is listed for $60,000, and from the moment you see its bright yellow paint paired with a black interior, it's obvious this car wasn't built to blend into the crowd. The long hood, aggressive front end, and fastback-inspired body lines perfectly capture the peak of Ford's muscle car era. The Torino Cobra was introduced for buyers who wanted serious performance without paying the premium attached to Ford's more exotic models. While it never reached the same level of fame as the Mustang, many enthusiasts believe the Torino offered one of the best combinations of style, comfort, and raw power that Ford produced during the early 1970s. What really makes this car special is what's under the hood, a legendary 429 cubic inch V8, paired with a 4-speed manual transmission. For many collectors, that's one of the most desirable combinations available in a classic Ford. The 429 is famous for its massive torque and effortless acceleration, while the manual gearbox gives the driver complete control over every bit of that big block power. Personally, I think muscle cars like this are at their best with a 4-speed. It creates a driving experience that simply can't be duplicated by an automatic. The seller states that the odometer shows only 18,000 miles, although, as with any vintage vehicle, mileage should always be verified through documentation. Even so, the car is described as running beautifully and attracting attention everywhere it goes. The owner even mentions that it's just as comfortable driving to a local car show as it is taking out for dinner, which says a lot about its road manners. One thing I appreciate is the honesty behind the sale. The seller explains they're letting the car go not because there's a problem with it, but because they simply don't have the time to give it the attention it deserves. That's often a more reassuring reason than many you'll find in classic car listings. So, is $60,000 justified? In my opinion, if this Torino is as solid as the seller suggests and the specifications shown in the additional photos support its condition, the price is understandable. Genuine big block Ford muscle cars continue to attract collectors, especially examples equipped with the highly desirable 4-speed manual transmission. The 1970 Ford Torino Cobra isn't just another classic coupe. It's a reminder of an era when horsepower ruled the streets, bold styling turned heads at every intersection, and driving was about far more than simply getting from one place to another. Number 2. The 1968 Chevrolet Camaro. When Chevrolet introduced the Camaro in 1967, it was created to challenge the rapidly growing pony car market. But by 1968, the formula had already been refined into one of the most recognizable performance cars in American history. With its long hood, aggressive stance, and endless performance potential, the first-generation Camaro remains a dream car for collectors and enthusiasts around the world. This particular 1968 Chevrolet Camaro is located in Cameron, North Carolina, with an asking price of $45,000. The seller describes it as being in like-new condition and emphasizes that only serious buyers should inquire. Under the hood is a fuel-injected 350 cubic inch Chevrolet V8 equipped with roller rocker components. While the seller doesn't provide horsepower figures, this combination is generally known for delivering improved reliability, smoother operation, and stronger performance compared to many traditional carbureted small-block setups. In my opinion, a well-built fuel-injected 350 offers one of the best balances between classic muscle car character and modern drivability. One of the biggest advantages of electronic fuel injection is consistency. Unlike older carbureted engines that can require frequent tuning, fuel injection typically provides easier cold starts, smoother idle quality, and more predictable performance in changing weather conditions. For enthusiasts who actually enjoy driving their classics on a regular basis, that's a very practical upgrade. Inside, the seller rates the interior a strong 9 out of 10. That's an encouraging detail because interior restorations can be both expensive and time-consuming. A clean, well-preserved cabin often reflects the level of care the entire vehicle has received over the years. The first-generation Camaro has earned its reputation not only because of its styling, but also because of its versatility. Whether restored to factory specifications or tastefully modified with modern performance upgrades, These cars continue to attract attention at car shows, cruise nights, and collector auctions. Their popularity has also ensured outstanding aftermarket support, making maintenance and future upgrades relatively straightforward. Of course, there are still a few questions that any potential buyer should ask before making a purchase. Since the listing is brief, confirming details such as the transmission, rear axle, suspension modifications, and documentation would be worthwhile during an inspection. That's simply part of buying any classic automobile. In my opinion, this 1968 Chevrolet Camaro offers an appealing combination of iconic styling, dependable small-block V8 power, modern fuel injection, and what appears to be a well-kept interior. If the overall condition matches the seller's description, it could be an excellent choice for someone looking for a classic American muscle car that's enjoyable to drive while still turning heads wherever it goes. Number 3. The 1966 Chevrolet Caprice Soft Top. The 1966 Chevrolet Caprice was Chevrolet's answer to buyers who wanted full-size comfort with a touch of luxury. With its elegant styling, spacious cabin, and smooth V8 performance, the Caprice quickly became one of the most desirable premium Chevrolets of the mid-1960s. This particular example is located in Chicago, Illinois, with an asking price of $28,500. Finished in blue with a matching blue interior, it has had just 2 owners and is powered by its original 327 cubic inch V8 paired with an automatic transmission. According to the seller, the car starts easily, runs smoothly, and is highway ready. It has received a fresh paint job and fresh oil change while retaining its original interior, original keys, and original locks. The suspension is said to be in excellent condition, and the car is equipped with dual exhaust, rally wheels, working gauges, heat, wipers, and an aftermarket air conditioning system. The seller is also honest about the one major item that will eventually need attention. The convertible-style soft top will likely need replacement in the future. Aside from that, the body, frame, trunk, and doors are all described as solid, making this sound like a well-preserved driver rather than a restoration project. In my opinion, this 1966 Caprice offers a great combination of originality and drivability. The original 327 V8, well-maintained interior, and solid body are definite highlights. While budgeting for a future top replacement would be wise, at $28,500 this classic appears to be a comfortable weekend cruiser that's ready for car shows, family drives, and years of enjoyment. Number 4. The 1970 Pontiac GTO Judge. What if I told you that for $87,000, you could own one of the most legendary muscle cars ever built, a numbers-matching 1970 Pontiac GTO Judge Ram Air 3? For many collectors, that's not just another classic. That's the dream. The 1970 model year is widely considered one of the greatest years for the GTO. It featured aggressive new styling, improved performance, and some of the most desirable engine options Pontiac ever offered. And among them, the Judge remains the icon that enthusiasts continue to chase decades later. This particular Judge is finished in a striking white exterior paired with a blue interior, a combination that gives the car a clean, sophisticated appearance while still standing out from the more common bright Judge colors. Under the hood sits its original Ram Air 3 V8, paired with an automatic transmission. More importantly, the seller states that this is a numbers-matching car, one of the biggest factors collectors look for when evaluating a high-end muscle car. According to the listing, the only component that isn't numbers matching is the carburetor, but the seller actually has 2 correct number carburetors available, giving the next owner the opportunity to make the car even more factory correct if the deal is right. Another major highlight is the car's originality. The seller believes it still retains its original body panels, something that's becoming increasingly rare after more than 5 decades. Original sheet metal is a huge advantage because it often reflects a car that has lived a relatively careful life rather than undergoing extensive repairs or panel replacements. To support the car's authenticity, the seller has also included photos of the engine VIN stamp along with the Pontiac Historic Services, or PHS, documentation. For Pontiac collectors, PHS paperwork is incredibly valuable because it verifies how the car was originally built at the factory, including its options and drivetrain. The odometer currently shows just over 62,000 miles, and the seller describes the car as exceptionally clean throughout. Interestingly, they also mention that they don't really need to sell it. In fact, the The reason it's on the market is because it simply doesn't get driven as much as the rest of their collection, and they specifically say they don't want to modify it by installing a different drivetrain. Personally, I always like hearing that kind of story. It suggests the seller appreciates the car for what it is and wants it to go to someone who will preserve its originality. So, is it worth the asking price? Considering today's collector market, a documented, numbers-matching 1970 GTO Judge Ram Air 3 is among the most desirable Pontiacs you can buy. Original body panels, factory documentation, matching drivetrain, and the availability of correct carburetors all add to its long-term appeal. This isn't simply a fast classic, it's a genuine piece of American muscle car history. And for the right collector, that's something that only becomes more valuable with time. Number 5. The 1964 Pontiac GTO Post Coupe. What if I told you that for $79,000, you could own one of the most meticulously restored first-year GTOs you'll ever come across? This isn't just another classic muscle car. It's a PHS-documented 1964 Pontiac GTO, owned by the same enthusiast since 1988 and treated to a Concours-quality body-off restoration with virtually no expense spared. Under the hood is the legendary 389 cubic inch V8 with tri-power, backed by a close-ratio 4-speed manual transmission and a 3.90 Posey rear axle. The engine was carefully rebuilt with performance upgrades, including a balanced and blueprint rotating assembly, competition cams valve train, roller rockers, and correct date-coded components, preserving both performance and authenticity. What really separates this GTO from most others is the incredible attention to detail. Nearly every component has either been restored, rebuilt, or replaced with correct NOS, new old stock, parts, from the wiring harnesses and horn relay to the fan shroud, trunk light, and even the hood insulation. According to the seller, about 95% of the original hardware was saved, correctly replated, and reinstalled. The car wears its original grenadier red color, applied during a painstaking paint process that resulted in a laser-straight body. It has also earned multiple Best of Show and First Place awards, and has even been featured on Speed Vision and in Musclecar magazine. So, is it worth the asking price? In my opinion, yes, if you're looking for a collector-grade first-generation GTO. Between the documentation, award-winning restoration, correct components, and remarkable craftsmanship, this is the kind of car that's becoming increasingly difficult to duplicate today. Because this isn't simply a restored 1964 GTO. It's a benchmark for how a first-year GTO should be restored and preserved. Number 6. The 1970 Dodge Challenger. Some classic muscle cars are valuable because they've been heavily modified. Others are valuable because they've managed to survive almost exactly as they left the factory. This 1970 Dodge Challenger belongs to that second group, and that's what makes it so special. Offered at $62,500, this Challenger is more than just a beautiful plum-crazy Mopar. It's an A66 package car, an original Scat Pack, and according to the seller, it still retains its numbers-matching 340 cubic inch V8. For collectors, originality like that can be just as important as horsepower. Finished in the iconic FC7 plum crazy purple with a black interior and black vinyl roof, this Challenger looks exactly the way many enthusiasts picture a classic Mopar. Even after more than 50 years, the color remains one of the most recognizable factory paint options ever offered during the muscle car era. Under the hood is the original 340 V8, backed by what the seller believes is the factory 727 TorqueFlite automatic transmission. Power is sent through Chrysler's legendary 8 3/4-inch rear axle equipped with 3.73 gears, giving the car an excellent balance between strong acceleration and comfortable highway cruising. Personally, I think the 340 is one of the most underrated small-block V8s of its generation. It may not have the massive displacement of a 426 Hemi or a 446 Pack, but it delivers impressive performance while maintaining excellent drivability. What really separates this Challenger from many others on the market is its documentation. The original build sheet is included, along with a fender tag, door tag, matching VIN numbers, and matching radiator. The seller even explains that the car was originally ordered by a Chrysler Plymouth dealership in Canada as a dealer demonstration vehicle, adding another interesting chapter to its history. Mechanically, The car appears to have been well maintained. Recent upgrades include a new battery, fresh exhaust system, new mufflers, and upgraded rear axles. The seller also describes the engine bay as clean and largely original, while noting that the car successfully completed a long road trip from Canada to Indianapolis without any mechanical issues. To me, that's often a better test than simply sitting on display at a car show. What I also appreciate is the honesty of the listing. The seller openly points out the few imperfections, including a slow rear main seal leak, a cracked dashboard, a passenger window that needs attention, and a few minor interior flaws. That level of transparency usually inspires more confidence than a listing claiming everything is perfect. So, is it worth the asking price? In my opinion, if you're searching for an authentic e-body Mopar with documented history, matching drivetrain components, desirable factory options, and one of the most iconic colors of the muscle car era, this Challenger represents a very compelling package. It's not just another restored classic, it's a well-preserved piece of American automotive history that's still meant to be driven and enjoyed. Number 7. The 1965 Chevelle Malibu Super Sport L79. Some classic muscle cars are admired because they've been heavily modified. Others become true collector pieces because they remain exactly as Chevrolet intended. This 1965 Chevelle Malibu Super Sport belongs to the second category, and that's what makes it especially significant. The 1965 model year marked Chevrolet's first major redesign of the Chevelle, introducing the clean, muscular body style that would become one of the defining shapes of the American muscle car era. While the SS 396 models often receive most of the attention, knowledgeable collectors know that one of the rarest and most desirable combinations was the L79 package. This particular car is located in Fairfield, Connecticut, carrying an asking price of $79,999. It shows just 51,000 documented original miles, comes with a clean title, and is described as having no significant mechanical or structural problems. What truly separates this Chevelle from many others on the market is its authenticity. According to the seller, this is a genuine 138 code Super Sport, powered by its original numbers matching 327 cubic inch L79 V8, factory rated at 350 horsepower. In 1965, that was an impressive output from a small block Chevrolet engine, and many enthusiasts consider the high-revving L79 to be every bit as exciting as the larger big block engines that followed. Power is delivered through the original Muncie M 24-speed manual transmission, giving drivers the classic hands-on experience that helped define American performance cars during the 1960s. Combined with the lightweight small block engine, the result is a car that's known for quick acceleration, balanced handling, and an unmistakable mechanical feel. Finished in elegant glacier gray over its original black interior, this Chevelle has also benefited from a comprehensive restoration completed in 2012. Even more impressive is the documentation that accompanies the car. The seller states that it includes the original window sticker, build sheet, Protecto plate, shipping order, owner's manual in its original bag, plus a binder filled with restoration photographs and receipts. In my opinion, documentation of this caliber is almost as valuable as the restoration itself because it helps verify the car's history and originality. The seller also notes that the underside is just as clean as the exterior and that the car was acquired from one of the largest collections of 1965 Chevelles in the United States. That kind of provenance often adds another layer of confidence for serious collectors. Personally, I believe the L79 is one of Chevrolet's most underrated performance engines. While the later 396 powered cars often dominate headlines, the lightweight, high-revving 327 delivers a driving experience that's uniquely engaging and highly respected among enthusiasts who know these cars well. In my opinion, this 1965 Chevelle Malibu Super Sport represents exactly what serious collectors look for: documented originality, numbers-matching drivetrain, rare factory specifications, outstanding provenance, and extensive restoration records. It's more than just a beautiful classic. It's a well-preserved piece of Chevrolet performance history that would be equally at home in a private collection, a concours event, or a weekend cruise where its authenticity can truly be appreciated. Number 8. The 1966 Chevrolet Impala SS 427. The 1966 Chevrolet Impala SS represents one of the last great full-size American muscle cars. while the Super Sport badge already carried plenty of prestige. Adding the legendary 427 cubic inch V8 transformed the Impala into a serious high-performance machine capable of delivering both comfort and impressive power. This particular 1966 Impala SS is located in Richmond, Indiana, with an asking price of $55,000. Finished in blue over a tan interior, it's a true super sport equipped with a 427 V8 and a desirable 4-speed manual transmission. According to the seller, the engine has only about 1,000 miles since being rebuilt. The transmission and rear axle have also been completely gone through, and the car has received a new fuel tank. Those recent mechanical updates suggest this Impala has been prepared to be driven and enjoyed rather than simply displayed. The seller describes the paint as a 7 out of 10, meaning it's a nice driver quality finish rather than a concours restoration. More importantly, they emphasize that the car runs and drives exceptionally well, which is often the biggest priority for enthusiasts looking to enjoy a classic on the road. In my opinion, the biggest attraction here is the combination of a genuine SS, a 427 big block, and a 4-speed manual transmission. Those features alone make this Impala highly desirable among Chevrolet collectors. At $55,000, it isn't inexpensive, but if the drivetrain rebuilds and overall condition check out, it could be an excellent example of one of Chevrolet's most iconic full-size performance cars. Number 9. The 1968 Chevrolet Impala. What if I told you that for just $17,500, you could own a full-size classic Chevy with a 327 V8, upgraded brakes, and enough originality to enjoy immediately while still leaving room for future improvements? That sounds like a pretty compelling deal. The 1968 Chevrolet Impala is one of those cars that perfectly represents the golden era of American cruising. Long, wide, and unmistakably stylish, it was built for comfort just as much as performance. Today, these full-size Chevrolets are becoming increasingly popular because they offer vintage muscle car character without the six-figure prices attached to many Chevelles and Camaros. This particular Impala is finished in a classic blue exterior, and according to the seller, it's exactly what most enthusiasts are looking for, a solid driver that's ready to hit the road. Under the hood is Chevrolet's dependable 327 cubic inch V8, topped with a 4-barrel carburetor and backed by the legendary PowerGlide automatic transmission. Power is delivered through a desirable 12-bolt rear axle, a setup known for its durability and strength. It may not be a tire-smoking big block, but the 327 has earned its reputation for being smooth, reliable, and plenty of fun on weekend cruises. One thing that really stands out is the amount of mechanical work that's already been completed. The front suspension has been rebuilt with new bushings, and the car has been upgraded to power front disc brakes, giving it significantly better stopping power than the original drum brake setup. Those kinds of upgrades make a noticeable difference when driving a classic in modern traffic. The seller also notes that the car spent its entire life in Kentucky before moving to New York just a few years ago. That's encouraging because southern cars generally avoid the heavy rust issues caused by decades of salted winter roads. Even better, it was reportedly owned and maintained by a lead Cadillac technician, suggesting the car has been cared for by someone with professional automotive experience. Inside, the news gets even better. The interior is described as being in nice condition, and nearly everything works, from the gauges, horn, dome light, and windshield wipers to the heater blower and even the cigarette lighter. The only exception mentioned is the fuel gauge, which simply needs a new sending unit. Of course, the seller is also refreshingly honest about the cosmetic condition. The paint is about 35 years old, and while it still looks great from about 20 feet away, they admit that the lower rear quarter panels will eventually need patch panels. Personally, I always appreciate sellers who point out the flaws instead of pretending the car is perfect. It makes the listing feel much more trustworthy. So, is it worth the asking price? In my opinion, absolutely. You're getting a solid southern body Impala with a proven small block V8, a rebuilt front suspension, upgraded disc brakes, a strong 12-bolt rear end, and an honest seller who's upfront about what the car needs. It may not be a concours restoration, but that's exactly what makes it appealing. It's the kind of classic you can drive, enjoy, improve over time, and never feel guilty about putting miles on. And for many enthusiasts, that's exactly what owning a classic American car is all about. Number 10. The 1965 Chevelle Malibu SS convertible. What if I told you that for $50,000, you could own a classic American convertible that's all about timeless style rather than outright speed? This 1965 Chevelle Malibu SS convertible represents the early days of Chevrolet's legendary muscle car era. Before massive big block engines became the norm, cars like this offered a perfect balance of performance, comfort, and everyday drivability. Finished in red with a black interior, it's a color combination that never goes out of style. Drop the top on a sunny afternoon, and it's easy to see why these first-generation Chevelles remain so popular today. Power comes from Chevrolet's dependable 283 cubic inch small block V8, paired with the smooth-shifting PowerGlide automatic transmission. While it won't deliver the brute force of a 396 or 454, the 283 has earned a reputation for reliability and relaxed cruising, making it an excellent choice for weekend drives and local car shows. The seller doesn't provide many additional details, but sometimes that's because the car speaks for itself. A genuine Malibu SS convertible already carries strong collector appeal, especially when presented in such a classic color combination. So, is it worth the asking price? In my opinion, yes, if you're searching for a stylish, easy-to-enjoy 1960s Chevrolet convertible. You're getting iconic SS styling, proven small-block reliability, and one of the most enjoyable open-top driving experiences of the era. Because not every classic has to be the fastest. Sometimes, the simple joy of cruising with the top down is more than enough. Number 11. The 1971 Plymouth Duster 340 Tribute. What happens when you take one of Mopar's lightest muscle cars and give it nearly twice the performance it left the factory with? The result is something like this 1971 Plymouth Duster 340 Tribute, a classic built to deliver excitement every time the throttle is opened. Listed at $33,000, this isn't a factory original restoration focused on preserving history. Instead, it's a modern street and strip build that combines the unmistakable styling of the early 1970s with serious performance upgrades underneath. The bright orange exterior paired with a black interior immediately gives the car that unmistakable Mopar attitude. The Duster has always been known for its simple, lightweight design, and that's exactly why it became such a favorite among drag racers. Compared to many other muscle cars of its era, the Duster carried less weight, making it an ideal platform for building a very fast street machine. Under the hood is where this car truly separates itself. Although it's presented as a 340 Tribute, the engine has been stroked and bored to an impressive 416 cubic inches. That's a substantial increase in displacement over the original small block, creating an engine capable of producing far more torque and horsepower than Plymouth ever offered from the factory. Backing that engine is Chrysler's legendary 727 TorqueFlite automatic transmission, widely respected for its durability and ability to handle serious power. Out back is the equally dependable 8 3/4-inch rear axle, another favorite among Mopar enthusiasts because of its strength and reliability under hard acceleration. The addition of 4-wheel disc brakes is another upgrade I really like. Extra horsepower is exciting, but having modern stopping power is just as important when you're driving a classic with this much performance. According to the seller, the drivetrain has only about 2,500 miles on it, suggesting that much of the build is still relatively fresh. They also make a bold statement, saying you couldn't build this car today for the asking price. Honestly, with the current cost of engines, machine work, transmissions, suspension components, and labor, there's probably some truth to that. High-quality performance builds have become significantly more expensive over the last several years. Of course, it's worth remembering that this is a tribute car, not a factory numbers matching 340 Duster. For some collectors, originality will always be the priority. But for drivers who care more about performance than production codes, that distinction may not matter at all. So, is it worth $33,000? In my opinion, if the workmanship matches the seller's description, this represents a lot of performance for the money. You're getting a lightweight Mopar powered by a 416 cubic inch stroker engine, backed by proven drivetrain components and upgraded braking, all wrapped in one of the most recognizable muscle car shapes of the early 1970s. This isn't the kind of classic you buy just to admire in the garage. It's the kind you buy to fire up on a Saturday morning, Feel the rumble of that stroker V8, and remember exactly why American muscle cars continue to captivate enthusiasts more than 50 years later. Number 12. The 1966 Chevelle Malibu. Not every classic Chevelle needs to be a six-figure supersport to be worth owning. In fact, some of the most enjoyable classics are the ones built to be driven, upgraded for reliability, and enjoyed on the open road without constantly worrying about preserving a museum piece. That's exactly the impression this 1966 Chevelle Malibu gives. The 1966 model marked the beginning of Chevrolet's second-generation Chevelle, introducing the sleek body style that many enthusiasts consider one of the best-looking designs of the entire muscle car era. Its sharp lines, wide stance, and simple styling created a timeless appearance that still turns heads nearly 60 years later. This particular Chevelle is located in Willis, Texas, with an asking price of $30,000. The seller describes it as a good, dependable driver rather than a show-quality restoration, and honestly, that's something many classic car buyers are actively searching for. Under the hood is a proven 350 cubic inch small block Chevrolet V8 backed by the legendary Powerglide automatic transmission. While this combination wasn't designed to break quarter-mile records, it's famous for reliability, simplicity, and low maintenance. In my opinion, a 350 paired with a Powerglide is one of the easiest classic drivetrains to own, thanks to its massive parts availability and decades-long reputation for durability. One of the strongest selling points is the amount of recent maintenance already completed. According to the seller, the car has received a new exhaust system, classic auto air conditioning, new front and rear shocks, rear coil springs, a completely rebuilt braking system with a new power brake booster, a new alternator, fuel pump, aluminum radiator, and an Edelbrock 650 carburetor. Those upgrades address many of the components that typically require attention on a vintage vehicle, making the car better suited for regular driving. The seller also includes a new spare tire and modern LED headlights, small additions that improve convenience and visibility while preserving the classic character of the car. To the seller's credit, the listing is refreshingly honest about the imperfections. The paint is beginning to fade in a few areas, and there are a couple of small rust spots along the roof rails. Rather than hiding those flaws, they're presented up front, giving buyers a realistic picture of what they're getting. Personally, I appreciate that level of transparency. It suggests this Chevelle is being marketed as what it truly is, a solid driver that can be enjoyed immediately instead of an over-restored showpiece that owners might be afraid to take out on the road. In my opinion, this 1966 Chevelle Malibu offers an excellent balance of classic styling, dependable mechanical upgrades, everyday usability, and honest presentation. It may not be a concours restoration, but for someone who wants to experience the joy of driving a classic American V8 without the pressure of owning a perfect collector car, this Chevelle looks like a very appealing choice. Number 13. The 1976 Ford Elite. The 1976 Ford Elite is one of those forgotten American classics that offers plenty of style without demanding muscle car prices. Designed as a personal luxury coupe, it combined long body lines, a comfortable ride, and dependable V8 power, making it an excellent highway cruiser. This particular example is located in Dyer, Indiana, with an asking price of just $4,800. Finished in blue and powered by a 351 cubic inch V8 backed by an automatic transmission, it also features dual exhaust with mufflers for a deeper, more classic V8 sound. According to the seller, the car has been extremely reliable, taking multiple trips of over an hour without any issues. They say it runs, drives, and stops exactly as it should, making it a classic you could simply drive home and enjoy. The paint isn't perfect, and there is some light rust in a few areas, but the seller describes the car as mostly solid overall. It also retains several original features that are becoming harder to find, including the factory hood ornament, original Elite aluminum wheels, and the factory rubber floor mat. In my opinion, the biggest selling point is the value. At under $5,000, this Ford Elite offers dependable V8 power, classic 70s styling, and honest driver quality condition. If you're looking for an affordable American classic that's ready to cruise rather than restore, this one is certainly worth a closer look. Number 14. The 1967 Ford Galaxie 500. What if I told you that for $29,500, you could own a classic Ford that's been upgraded with a modern drivetrain, and even has a connection to a well-known Major League Baseball manager. That's exactly what makes this 1967 Ford Galaxie 500 so interesting. The Galaxie was Ford's flagship full-size car during the 1960s, built for smooth highway cruising while still offering plenty of V8 performance. Today, they're appreciated for their timeless styling, spacious interiors, and surprisingly comfortable driving experience. This particular example has clearly evolved beyond its original factory specifications. Under the hood is a Jasper Crate V8 engine, breathing through a Holley 600 CFM carburetor. The seller mentions that the previous electronic fuel injection system has been removed, returning the car to the simplicity and classic feel of a traditional carbureted setup. It's also paired with a Tremec 5-speed manual transmission, a major upgrade over the original gearbox that makes the car much more enjoyable to drive on today's roads, especially at highway speeds. Finished in a handsome brown exterior with a black interior, this Galaxie has a clean, understated look that fits the era perfectly. It isn't trying to be flashy. Instead, it has the kind of presence that quietly earns attention wherever it goes. Comfort hasn't been overlooked either. The car is equipped with power windows and air conditioning, and while the seller notes that the AC simply needs to be recharged, having factory-style comfort features in a classic like this makes it much easier to enjoy during long summer drives. One detail that really caught my attention is the car's history. According to the seller, this Galaxie once belonged to Joe Maddon, the longtime Major League Baseball manager best known for leading the Chicago Cubs to their historic 2016 World Series championship. While celebrity ownership doesn't necessarily increase a car's performance, it certainly adds an interesting conversation piece and makes the vehicle a little more memorable. The seller also includes a link to a previous listing from a classic car dealership, giving potential buyers another source of information about the vehicle's background and presentation. So, is it worth the asking price? Personally, I think this Galaxie offers something different from many classics in this price range. You're getting the unmistakable styling of a full-size 1960s Ford, a dependable crate engine, a desirable Tremec 5-speed manual, modern drivability, and an ownership history that's sure to spark conversations wherever the car goes. It may not be a factory original survivor, but that's exactly what gives it its appeal. The 1967 Ford Galaxie 500 blends classic American style with practical upgrades, creating a car that's meant to be driven, enjoyed, and appreciated for many years to come. Number 15. The 1968 Mercury Cougar Coupe. What if I told you that for just $14,000, you could own a classic Mercury V8 that's already had much of the important mechanical work completed? This 1968 Mercury Cougar Coupe is the kind of project that's becoming harder to find. According to the seller, it's a very restorable car with just 2 owners, making it an appealing option for someone who wants to finish a classic without starting from scratch. Under the hood is Ford's dependable 302 cubic inch V8, paired with an automatic transmission. It's a proven combination that's easy to maintain, enjoyable to drive, and backed by excellent parts availability. One of the biggest selling points is the amount of recent maintenance. The seller says the car has already received new brakes, a new exhaust system, a new fuel tank and fuel lines, plus a complete tune-up, along with other mechanical work. Those are exactly the kinds of repairs that can save a future owner both time and money. Another nice bonus is factory air conditioning, a feature that wasn't common on every classic coupe and certainly makes the car more enjoyable during warm weather cruising. Finished in burgundy with a matching burgundy interior, the Cougar has a distinctive late 1960s look that still stands out today. It's elegant, sporty, and offers a slightly more upscale alternative to the Mustang while sharing much of the same dependable Ford engineering. So, is it worth the asking price? In my opinion, absolutely. For $14,000, you're getting a solid foundation with a V8, recent mechanical work, factory AC, and plenty of restoration potential. It may still need cosmetic attention, but the expensive mechanical work has already been started, making this Cougar an attractive entry into the world of classic American cars.